This is the prick of the Old Testament. The Old Testament is often used by non-believers to debate modern Christianity. The book of Isaiah can be used as though it is an imprint of modern day. God created a vineyard nation and planted there his people. It only grew thorns without yield, and the people there grew corrupt. The Lord destroyed the vineyard, which means the Lord cleansed the wicked. In times of destruction and desolation, God does take vengeance so that his people can prosper and live righteously. Solomon married what would equate to an entire state's population of women, but they were not all equally yoked. It corrupted the pact that the Israelis had made with Yah. Paganism ruled and criminality was introduced to Israel. But then God brought judgment and corrected violence with fire. God corrected the meaning of pact and restored the nation to its original purpose and state. Israel actually became worse than Sodom and Gomorrah. Because of this, they allowed idols into their nation. So essentially what I'm saying is that the chosen people made a pact with God, who freed them from Egypt. Then they entered into Israel and became a strong and reliable nation. Those who stray from the Lord stray from knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and your own wickedness will discipline you. You must separate within the heart and soul what is precious and what is poison. You must find out what is worth hanging on to that will benefit salvation, to come out of depression and the humiliation of sin. All these things may be obvious to believers, but the non-believer does not do enough self-analysis to recognize that their ways are not right, rather than staring at the Lord and telling him that his ways are right. And we can see God in everything. We can see God in ourselves when we act accordingly, according to Scripture. And this becomes the great debate, the Old Testament, for these non-believers. And it is because they lack the knowledge, the wisdom, and the understanding, because they have separated themselves from God. Understanding and knowing who God is comes from reading Scripture. Ears that don't hear and eyes that don't see are for the foolish who like to debate the Old Testament. They look at God as though he is this terrible being that wants to destroy all of mankind. God is your creator. He does not take pleasure in the death of anyone who dies. The common theme of the Old Testament that is often not mentioned is restoration. The fact that God does bring restoration to his people who are faithful and righteous. The real prick of the Old Testament are those who love sin.